Welcome back to a family business podcast. Today's topic is going to be what's going on in the current real estate market as of May of 2025.
You said this wasn't about tariffs.
Well, it's not going to be completely about tariffs. It's going to be about what's going on in the market, and it might include tariffs.
I don't want to talk about tariffs anymore. I think that word to me is like I think it's a word we should just outlaw for the rest of 2025. It's like going to be a dirty word. It's a bad word.
Well, it tends to make the markets go down, which is not necessarily a great thing when people hear the word. So I would agree with that. So just going on talking about what's going on right now in the market, it's been kind of a crazy year. It's been a busy year, which has been very, very good. Part of it, though, is I think during the tariff
I'm gonna ask our producer to bleep that word out. I just said we are not saying that anymore.
There's no question that the higher end market kind of slowed down a little bit. And actually, my dad's condo down in Naples, it is on the market. Just got an offer recently, but there was a big slowdown down there when the markets went down. That there's a lot of cash buyers down there. And when you get to the higher end real estate, you tend to have a lot of cash buyers. Like we were amazed last year. Our highest priced homes that we had were all cash.
Yeah, all of our over $2 million listings, the buyers were all cash.
Yeah,
like I feel like I'm on an episode of $1 Million Listing. Say it, Brad.
All cash.
All cash.
But yeah, so I mean, it definitely in those kinds of markets. So we always go back to in the Quad Cities that we're in kind of a little bit of a bubble. But in the national market, in a lot of these higher end places, not that the Quad Cities is not higher end, they're very high end people. But what I'm trying to say is that there's not as many cash offers in the Quad Cities as there would be in a place like Naples or Scottsdale, New York City, those kinds of places. So with the markets going up and down, it'll hit those areas much harder than it would in the Quad
Brad,
Cities.
That's because in the Midwest, we all have backyards to bury our cash in. So that's why
so we never want to get it out, right? Yeah, no, that's so we went to a conference in Charleston, which brings me to the next topic. And I want to get your guys' take on this. They really think that come June or July that the mortgage interest rates, there's a high probability that those may start dropping a little bit and the market's going to break open and go crazy.
They were saying starting in July, July, August, September is when they're saying.
Well, and here's the thing, and you can kind of see inklings of signs through not only in our market, but also down in Southwest Florida, where I have a good friend down there that sells. It's starting to turn over, even though their season's coming up to an end. But I think there's just a lot of factors going into that. Probably 10 episodes ago, we talked about how this year coming up, we really didn't have anything to look forward to, right? No COVID, no new election. It was just kind of a year that we were just going to kind of continue on.
Wait, I'm turning 50 this year, PT. I have something to look forward to.
Well, there we go.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly. And who knows, that might affect the real estate market. Yeah. We never know. But it's definitely interesting to see, because we've been talking for years too about, are we going to get inventory back? And we're still looking at our watches on that too.
Boy, it seems like every year we always say, well, we'll have more inventory this year, and it just has not happened yet.
It's incredible. So what is leading to that? I mean, is that are sellers still holding on to their lower interest rates that they got years back? Or, back to your comment on, June and July, if it starts to creep down and it makes sense for people, you might see more opportunities.
Yeah.
Well, because I think when we've talked about this in other, and I think you're hearing this in a lot of our sellers, right? I can think of the three of the ones that are pending right now. They are one's retiring and the other two are job relocations. So those things have to happen. I mean, people, that still occurs. And so that does spur the market. But to your point, PT, I just think that there's a lot of buyers and sellers that have just been sitting on the fence for so long and they're just over it, right? Like, I think they finally understood. It's like you're watching that, you need to buy a new car or something, let's say, or whatever it is. and you put it in your Amazon or something. I guess I don't buy a car on Amazon, but you put something in
You
your,
never know. You might be able to.
Carvana or whatever that is.
It probably won't be long.
You can buy it out of a gumball machine called, isn't it Carvana? Is
Yep,
that what it is?
Carvana, yep.
It's literally like a gumball machine. If you're listening to this,
I have seen them.
You put
it's
your
up
money
near, like,
in and the
Oak
car
Brook in
comes-
Yep.
Chicago.
My 2014 Ford Fusion came from there.
That's great.
how long did that car last? Oh wait,
It's
Eli
around
still- Eli still
Eli's
driving.
got
well, I
it.
guess
Yeah,
buying a car
yeah,
from a gumball machine is a
Yep.
great way to do it.
it works.
But anyway, now I totally lost my train of thought, but I'll bring it. So you put something in your Amazon cart, right? And you're watching it because you want it, right? But it's like we have these Oura rings, mine's on the charger. I put it in I'd wanted to buy one, and then the new ones came out and they were higher priced, and I was like, oh, I'm not going to buy that. So I put it in my Amazon cart, and I kept watching it and watching it and watching it, and finally I just got tired of waiting for it, so I just bought the darn thing, right? Because I wanted it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what's happening in the housing market right now, especially in our area. People are just, it's like,
It
I'm
is.
over it, and I'm just going to do it.
Yeah, and I really think that July, August, is September, and the reason why that is there was always the talk, if the rates would ever drop down to near 5 again, that it is just going to go crazy. But they were even talking, if the rates just drop down to 6, that's going to give enough people a nudge
Give
that
this-
hey, we've been in this house for too long, we are outgrowing it, and we have to move.
Yeah, the stats, which if I had my little notepad over here, because I wrote this down, but I think I've got it pretty close, is that last year there were 4 million real estate transactions across the board. And in that, there was 2 buyers for every home. Okay. So what they were saying is that if the interest rates dropped by at least 0.5%, a percent would be even more so, it would increase the number of buyers that come to the table by 4 to 6 million, which means there'd be 8 to, what can I do math? 8 to 10 million buyers. So they're saying 8 to 10 buyers for every house.
Yeah.
So so it goes back to, we did a little reel.
And a lot
about-
of those are not going to be first time home buyers too.
No.
So they're going to have a house that they're going to sell, and you can see how the motion's going to start.
Well, and do you think that's why we're seeing in our market? Because, we've all said this. I mean, we're having the best, year we've ever had. But do you think part of that is because, and maybe, I mean, we have these conversations with our clients and we try to educate, our buyers and sellers. And, as an agent, I think that is your job, right? I mean, like, when's the best time to buy a house? Well, when you need to buy a house,
Right.
or when you should buy a house. So now, I mean, if that's what you need to do now, but now if you're buying a house, there's less buyers, and it's that whole, date the rate, marry the house. Okay. I agree with that, but I mean, it's kind of a silly marketing plan, but in this case, it's true. I mean, just even the ones we've had this year and what they've sold over list for, and we're not even to a point where the rates have dropped.
Yeah.
So if that happens, you're definitely, like you said in one of our reels a couple weeks ago, PT, you're paying way more for the house, and you cannot go back. You can refinance your rate, but you can't refinance the house. You don't get to go back to your the seller and go, hey, market, now I want to pay $100,000 less.
Well, and you have to go back to the fact, especially, like you said, there might be repeat buyers coming back into the market. But with these first time home buyers, I mean, it's already difficult enough, as some aren't as equipped as these repeat buyers. And so, you have to be strategic with explaining, okay, hey, this is how you're going to potentially win an offer situation against people that have bought homes before, first-time home buyers. And that's why, going all the way back to the buyer consultation, have that conversation, and preparing these people to understand how to win, because you could get stuck in the merry-go-round, just going round and round and writing multiple offers. So it's super important to have those conversations on how to be strategic with your buyers, especially if they're not as well equipped as other buyers.
Yeah, we just had one with a seller that wants to be a buyer. And when they told us that they wanted to buy their house and sell their house at the same time, we're like, oh, do you have to sell your house to buy? Oh, well, we're not sure. Okay, well, you need to talk to a lender, because in the price point that they were looking, we know darn good and well there's going to be multiple offers. We know that a seller is not going to take an offer subject to the sale or quite frankly, probably of the closing of their property, unless it's a cash deal and all sealed up, which maybe.
That's amazing to me. I mean, you remember not that long ago, like no one even blinked an eye if you like had a house you had to close on. I mean, if you had to sell one, that was different.
But those are, to your point, PT. I mean, as an agent, I mean, there's no point. I mean, we're going to try to figure out, we've connected them with the lender, and we're going to try to work through some different scenarios with them so that we can make them be more competitive in the purchase side of things. But really, there's not a lot of point in then going to look at 10, 20 homes and write 10 to 20 offers that are just going to get denied. Yeah. Like, we have to have an alternative way to do it so that we know that they can be competitive in purchasing, and they should do it sooner than later, because they're going from a higher price point to a lower price point. So that market's not going to get any better for them.
Market's
going
to get crazy, like that middle market. And I say middle market in the Quad Cities, I would consider that to be from about 300 to 600 range. Those are just going to be absolutely bonkers. I mean, they're already busy, but once those rates go down, watch out. I mean, it's really going to move.
Yeah, it just goes back to the conversation we were just having. It's these maybe second-time buyers, first-time sellers that want to move up to another bigger home that maybe has a little bit better of interest rate now that's been sitting on the fence. So yes, I think that middle range is going to go bonkers.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So going back to where the market's at, so it's a really good market. We can all agree on that right now.
Yes.
And I really think 2025, it's really, like I just had mentioned, it's heading into an incredibly good market. So it used to be in the Quad Cities, which we've talked about in the past, that it got really busy in that May, June, July, right? Then up until COVID, for I'd say 2010 through 2020, the baseball boom, where all the travel teams, and that's exactly right. Where we got really busy in that March, April, May were the really busy months. I think now a lot of it is going to be dependent on the rates, that when those rates drop, it could hit, say, in August, which is typically not a real busy month. But if the rates go down by a half a point or a point, I think you're going to see one of the best Augusts that you've ever seen.
Well, and when you say it's good, I mean, our team has, between pending and already closed deals, and it's May, whenever we're recording this, the first week of May, we're well over 350 transactions for our team. And that's with what's already closed and then pendings. And it's the first week of May.
Yeah.
So to say that, and I think last year, didn't we do around 500 as a team? I feel like.
Probably about right, yeah.
So we're already on pace to increase that by 30, 40%?
Yeah.
Oh,
right?
It's ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, and it's funny because at the end of last year, we're all celebrating and just kind of talking about the year coming up. And I think people were like, oh, we could maybe get to this and that. And it's like,
we're just going to crush all those numbers.
It's going to be insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of that is our office. And we just have a great thing going there, just all the positivity and the great people. But the real estate market's good. I mean, that always brings up your mood a little bit when you see properties moving, you see properties going. And as like you just mentioned, Andrea, everybody asks, when should I buy a house? The best answer always in the history of real estate is right now. And what you were kind of touching on earlier is, well, that same house that's on the market right now, if those rates drop, it's going to be a lot more expensive, and it may not be priced any higher, but there's going to be multiple offers, right, and it's going to go up high.
Well, and you and I personally can attest to that. The property that we are blessed enough to own as a vacation and a rental property up north, if we were to try to buy that now, or even 5 years after we bought it, the prices had increased so much, we would never be able to afford that, especially,
it just went out of sight.
Yeah. And then in addition to that, the home that we reside in, the one we're sitting in right now, what we bought this for 3.5 years ago, 4 years ago, what it's worth now, again, we wouldn't spend that much on a house. I mean, it was just...
Well, if you remember when we closed on our house, which was 2021, it was October of 2021. It was October 1. And the rates went up right after that. And then everybody was like, oh, that's the end of the real estate boom. Everything's going to crash. And it was slow for the next 6 months that a lot of people had rate sticker shock, which we've talked about this in past episodes. Rates are not that high, guys. But
They're actually pretty normal.
yeah, they're very normal. But the new normal was almost like a competition with like everybody that you talk to. What's your rate? 3, and you'd be like, oh well, I got 2.75, right? But those were just such crazy low numbers, and you knew that couldn't last the rest of our lives. So we had a severe lack of inventory, ridiculously low interest rates. That's why 2021 and 2020, the last half of 2020, were just crazy. I mean, they were just unbelievable years. But I really think the end of 2025, and what I mean by that is like from July, mid 2025 up until the end of the year is going to be crazy.
Till the snow flies.
Good, crazy good.
Well, and that's pretty. If you remember, and I want to go back and we should listen to that episode where we did the predictions for 2025 because
I might be low.
I'm pretty sure we said something like that, but it is what everyone's been saying. Everyone has been saying that they could just feel it, right? They could feel it like kind of starting to get pent up. They could feel the buyers coming back to the table. And that is definitely what's occurring. The discussion isn't really about the rates anymore. It's now about inventory. So that means people have just realized that the rates are kind of going to be what they're going to be. And again, so if it's just about inventory and they can't find what they want and then the rates drop, which they're predicting, like they said in Charleston, like one guy who's cracking me up, he goes, I'd be filling your funnel now, put everything, prospect your butt off is actually what he said. So that, because come August, September, he goes, you're going to be shooting fish in a barrel. And which I've never quite understood that, but I guess that means
they don't have to go very far.
Don't
I
move
get
fast.
it.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, whoever came up with that analogy?
It sounds pretty cruel.
I mean, I don't want to see what a fish looks like in a barrel that I shot. That's just horrible. Can we come up with a better analogy?
Yeah, but and I go back to this too. Do you remember all the panic in August of last year?
Oh,
I mean, it's
yeah.
I feel that buyers, if they've been around for a while, they understand these new agreements that have to be if they've worked with the right person.
This is how long ago that feels to me right now, PT, because you just said August of last year. I'm like, what happened August of last
It's
year?
funny.
It's just normal now, right?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because every time I talk to a new lead and I want to set up a buyer's consultation, I still ask, has anyone talked about the law changes with you that happened in August? And I'm like, I feel like I've been asking that forever now. It's like it's been a long time, but I feel that people are either have some type of idea and are comfortable with the idea of it now, if you explain it correctly, or the open houses. That's why I think was the first indication is that we started to hold these open houses when at the beginning of the year, and they were just flooded. It was unbelievable how many people were coming. And I think that was just a true telltale of the pent up action ready to hit the market.
Yeah.
And that's still holding true. I mean, we're getting back into the market in our area where you're not necessarily able to have an open house. You try to, but sometimes, your sellers, because if the house does sell in that first couple of days, they don't have one. But the open houses we are having are, if your house is priced well and you market it properly, the open houses are just,
they're excellent.
We had an agent on the one that we just had that went pending yesterday. I think she said she had 18 groups through.
She wrote one offer and almost wrote 2.
Yeah, she picked up 2 buyers from the open house.
Yeah, it's
crazy.
And wrote on it.
So I'm going to kind of geek out a little bit here.
No, we're not going to talk about the T word.
Andrea loves. I'm not going to talk about tariffs. I'm going to talk about
Beep.
rates. So today, while we're recording this, it just came out that they are not going to drop the Fed rate because Chairman Powell is concerned about the direction of unemployment as well as inflation. So it'll be interesting how the White House responds to that, as I know they're eager to get rates dropped just in general. And once again, to clarify, the federal interest rate is not the same as the mortgage interest rate. So you want to watch that 10-year yield and you want to watch that bond rate. I mean, that's really the big deal for mortgage rates. So that's
You
not to
are
say
geeking out.
that's not to say that that mortgage rates will not go down still in July, but that was just a quick little update on where everything's at. So basically, they're worried that if they drop the main interest rate, that we're going to get back into an inflated economy, which we do not want that again. So the last thing you want, I'm just going to break this down easily. The last thing you want are really low rates and really high prices. That if the rates are really low, guess what people continue to do? They keep on buying stuff.
Spend money.
That's exactly right. So, but I know that the White House is very eager to get people out of their current homes and into their next homes, that the housing market is one of the most important aspects of any economy. So lowering interest rates is the way that they're going to, lowering mortgage interest rates is the way that they're going to get people out of their current homes into a new home and then bring in the move up buyers.
Well, and that's part of that is, which this is not all the topic of this, but like it's because, you know, I don't remember the whole breakdown, but when a home is bought or sold, all the different people who also have a job because of that, you know, and not just, I mean, all the things you don't think, I mean, like insurance companies, your mortgage lender, your appraiser, the home inspector, the painter, the utility companies that have to switch you to, I mean, like it's so the house cleaning, you know, people that clean house, I mean, just craziness in regards to all the things that happen because a house is sold.
Well,
bought.
you know what they always say, nothing happens until what?
Nothing happens till somebody sells something.
Bingo.
There we
Yep.
go.
Yep. And it's very true. I mean, that gets everything going and creates jobs. And that's why Donald Trump is very eager to get the interest rates
Love
down.
him or hate him, which there's a lot of people that really don't like him.
There's a lot of people that really like him too. So, I mean,
Well,
and
that
there's
is
a lot
true.
of people who are in the middle and all they care about is what they're bringing home and whether they like him or not. Personally, they may like him as a president or some may not. It just depends on what side of the fence you're on. And that we can get into a totally different topic, but that will not be on our real estate podcast.
I think that should be another word that should be a word we don't use either, is Donald Trump or the T word.
There you go.
They're like, we're going to just call them
So-
the beep words.
I left the word tariff out of the last little section.
Stop.
Are you proud of me? It had
No,
nothing
you
to
said
do with
it
them.
now.
Well, now I did, but yeah.
Oh my Lord. No, I think that, I mean, and the other thing is we've had this is the other thing you kind of wonder if this is another reason why, at least in our market, we've had a super mild spring. We had like decent temperatures pretty early. We didn't have late snow. Gosh, I probably shouldn't say that because it is only May and it is possible we could have snow. But you know, we just haven't had those things. So I think that whenever the weather is mild, that also prompts people to start, you know, getting their house ready sooner to sell. Or if you're a buyer, it makes you a little more stir crazy to go out and start looking because the warmer weather and the sunshine and the no snow get you out and about.
Oh, it totally does. Like on a day like right now, today we're in May in the Midwest, and it's going to be 80-ish. That's
It
like
is 80.
everybody's outside,
Right.
right? I mean, not everybody. We're inside doing a podcast, and I can't even see the golf course at my back's to the golf course and the blinds down. But a lot of people are on the golf course. Actually, PT and I will be on the golf course here at 5:00 p.m. Davenport Country Club for men's league
That's right.
tonight. We better win tonight, PT.
I played 3 times this weekend, so we better.
We'll try.
You
hard.
played golf 3 times this weekend?
Well, yeah, he was at.
I thought you were a realtor.
He was at an event.
I had an excuse.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Guys,
We'll
you have to take
forgive
time
you.
out. So wrapping this up,
And I think PT has some top little notes over here. I can see him.
He does.
No,
All right.
but
He's a note maker.
My only comment to that, it's so funny because, you know, I do actually enjoy like Brad enjoys like all of the things with interest rates and all that stuff. I enjoy the weather because it's truly a huge indicator in our market and how it plays too. Andrew said our spring was mild, our winter was very mild too, so it extended farther in the year and then it started earlier in the year. So it all depends on when that first warm pop starts. Everybody wants to be outside and move around and do things, and that's a huge conversation I have with sellers and buyers too. It's like, hey, you know, if the weather, there's so many things with the weather I could go into.
Yeah, and I would really say normally, like we had kind of talked about earlier. Sorry, Andrew, didn't mean to cut you off.
But it's okay.
April's usually like the crazy month where, you know, all the listings come on. It seems to me like May has kind of been that month this year where there's just a ton of activity.
Which is just going to be really interesting because, historically it's like, college graduations, Mother's Day, high school graduations kind of skews the market a little bit. And to be honest with you, we have a couple new listings coming up that we're trying to figure out how to time appropriately with that, which usually we're not really dealing with that. Like usually, like you said, they're either like in the April or the June. And a lot of them are in that, March, April. So they're already pending by then. But that is very interesting as well, because it's probably a tall tale sign, PT, of what's to come. And I think that'll be interesting. But I mean, the thing I was thinking about when we were talking about this too, is like going back to a podcast we did a couple times ago, is like, at the end of the day, though, I mean, the market's going to be what the market's going to be, right? You just have to, continue as an agent to do the things that, like one of the big things at the conference we were at in Charleston is back to the basics, right? Like, and I think that's something that with all the noise that's been in the market the last few years, going all the way back to COVID and then the elections and, the T word and all this stuff, like stuff, that there's a lot of noise, right? And people forget what are the things they're supposed to be doing on a daily basis to help their buyers and their sellers with what they need to do, which is buy or sell. So I think as an agent, that's the biggest thing. I mean, it's great to talk about the market, and here it's wonderful that we're seeing positive trends for our buyers and sellers. But at the end of the day, you can't control what's happening. You just got to get out there and
and I really think
do what you're good
to
at.
Be as an agent too, it's very important that you know the market and what's going on and the trends, why. Because this evening at Golf League, I'll guarantee you that I'll get questions on how's the market, and
unless it's raining, because it is supposed to storm.
That's what they're saying. If there are just an answer, which I hear a lot of realtors say, "Oh, great, okay," but if you can expand on that and like educate yourself the reasons why it's great, that'll get you more leads. That then they know that you know the market and you're the trusted authority on real estate in their little group.
Well, and not just a blanket great, but it's also understanding like what market are they in? Are they a buyer? Are they a seller? What price range are they in? Are they moving somewhere out of the area?
Where do they live?
Correct. Yeah. I mean, so like it's also understanding their motivation and why they're asking. But people do just give you that standard answer, right? Oh, it's great. Okay, well, wait, I'm moving to Florida. Right. I heard it wasn't so great. Right. Oh, yeah, it's not so great there.
Yeah, exactly. And I like to really pinpoint this point about our current market too. Yes, it's great, it's amazing, but it's also a skill-based market. You have to understand what's going on, because it kind of goes back to our conversation on last week's podcast about pricing and making sure that everything's good in that aspect. There are so many different things that you have to keep under control when it's so easy to let go of something in a great market, right? Yeah. So just being able to use your skills, go back to the basics, and continue to run the plays, then that's all it is.
More than ever, you're so correct, PT, more than ever, especially when it comes to multiple offer situations and setting your clients up to win, right? I mean, at the end of the day, if that's the house for your client, how is it that you can write an offer that's going to make sure or put them in the absolute best possible scenario to win? I mean, there's nothing in our multiple offer situations that we've had recently in the last few months. I mean, this is so bad, but I mean, we've had offers come over that have blanks in them, right? We've had a house that had like 12 offers on it. And one of the agents that wrote an offer said, "Oh, and I'm so sorry. They're good. I promise to buy it, but they'll talk to their financial person tomorrow and get their pre-approval." I mean, come on, guys.
Yeah. Just have all of your ducks in a row and be ready.
Right. Yeah. Right. And that goes back to knowing in this market, that's not going to fly. Yeah. I mean, and
even more so as we move into what I like to call the crazy market, where you'll have multiple offers on a lot of houses and it will just be crazy.
And why would you want to be looking at houses that you don't know if you can buy? Yeah. I mean, I don't understand. I mean, there's nothing as a agent, there's nothing worse that you can set your purchaser up for from a disappointment standpoint than, okay, let's go look at $350,000 houses. Oh, I know you said you're good and you haven't talked to your lender. You'll talk to your lender once you find the house. Then they go talk to their lender and they can only afford a $300,000 house. And in this market, that means that they probably can only look at houses that are 275 to
Right, that
300
they
because
might have to go up. to
yeah.
300,
Like that's just, so know your market and help make sure that your buyers are prepared for what this market is.
Agree. So closing it out, I want one thought on the next 3 months of where this real estate market is going. Let's start with Andrea.
I think it's going to be insanity. That's what I think. I think this is my prediction. Oh, mark this down. I am predicting that everything that we have already closed or pended up until now, which the date of recording of this, May 7th, I think in the next 3 months, we are going to 1.5 that.
That's a great prediction.
I think
PG.
it'll be very interesting to see what pool of buyers kind of come from, because I think we're still sitting like we talked about. A lot of people were quick to pull the trigger a couple years ago when it had all these lower interest rates. Some people, and it's not perfect, but some people don't love the house they currently live in when they bought a couple years ago, which also is the unfortunate truth, right? Hopefully you're working with somebody that sets you up for success. But I think that, we spoke about it, that middle, ready to move up or even maybe move down is going to fly off the shelf.
I would agree with you 100%,
Baby boomers.
PT and Andrea both, that we're also getting in to the time of year when a lot of people that go south, baby boomers, who are retiring, they're going to be selling their larger homes to the next families, and people
Or single people.
or people,
True.
yeah,
Or dogs.
or whoever. But yeah, so I really think there's going to be a lot of activity in that sector as well as all the way across, because I do think that mortgage interest rates will slightly decline between now and 3 months from now. So that's my prediction.
How much? Okay, I want a prediction too. How much do you think mortgage rates between now and 3 months from now? What is the lowest percentage they're going to drop?
0.75, and I think at the minimum 0.25. So watch it be 0.5.
That was mine, minimum quarter of a point.
Which would make a big difference.
I'm
Yeah.
going to say a point.
A point. I love it. That's a bold prediction.
Nice.
Well, it's
I
great
like to be
being
on the
with you
safe
guys, and that's a wrap.
Do your open houses.